Hello, this is Lisa LaRose here on Connect to Love on TRN-FM, and it's an absolutely beautiful day, and I know Michael J. Russ is with me, and I know, Michael, you are having an amazing day, and would love for you to share just a little bit about what's inspiring you today.
Wow, what's inspiring me? That it's hot as blazes outside, that's an inspiration. Inspiration to stay inside and understand that it's there's a lot that I can be doing in here, and I am doing just that. What's inspiring me today? I'm inspired by my inner child. Let's go there. I got up this morning and took a walk. And during that walk I shot a couple of golf videos, which I always think about when I'm walking, and a couple of shorts. And I'm just looking around at, there was a wonderful tall egret that was in front of me that was walking around and decided to fly away. I saw a beautiful gray heron this weekend, Sunday, on the golf course. Makes me think, there are osprey that fly around and feed off the fish in the ponds here at the golf course I live on. Life. There's life going about its business all around. And as soon as the sun goes down, the owls start hooting in the trees, and it's really kind of cool to figure out which tree they're hooting from. They're hanging out in, that's it. Life is beautiful. It's vibrant, and it makes everything I might have been thinking about throughout the day, any issues that I had to deal with, or any challenges that I had to face and work my way through. It makes them insignificant. It diminishes to the point where they're non-existent. We as human beings spend way too much time on just trivial stuff. I think I had a conversation with a reader, the gal Tarot, and she called it something very interesting. Stupid conflict about nothing. We have a way of getting into conflicts and wasting time on nothing at all. Things we perceive as being vitally important at that time, in that moment, and really, they're insignificant. They don't really mean anything in the full scope of our lives, and they're minutia that should just blow away in the wind like dust, without any investment of energy, focus, attention, emotion, thought. They should just be gone. And if we could, what I was thinking about when I was walking was, if we could just, be that way more. I seek to be that way more and more, to when things happen, just, instead of investing in them, the need to be right, the need to be on top of it, the need to invest my 2 cents, just forget about it. Just let it go. It's not that it's drama we don't need to participate in. And I don't have a lot of drama in my life. However, there are times when people say things or do things, and I might think for a moment about, does that really need my attention? Can't I just let it go and it'll just disappear, blow away in the wind? And that is exactly what happens. I forget about it, move on. I treasure my happiness and my joy. I treasure them. They're like gold to me. And so when things come up, they come up. When you're getting your house remodel together, there are people you have to interact with on a daily basis. They may not be on the same frequency as you. They might be close, because we really don't attract people who are way off our frequencies. However, there are things that happen, and you're like, okay, where'd that come from? And you think for a moment about, does this deserve an investment of my time and energy? Is this really worth it? No, it's not. How can I just work around this? How can I Jimmy Jack my way away from this thing? Figure out how to, go in a different direction with it. And I'm blessed to be surrounded by the people who do our lawn service. They're awesome. They live down the street. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to give business to somebody who's here right on my street that I know is doing other people's houses on our street and is doing a wonderful job. And then he can do something close to home. He can come down the street, and not have to drive all over the neighborhood, and not all over the countryside, doing business. And it turns out that he does like 8 or 9 yards in this neighborhood. And it's awesome to see him close to home.
Yeah.
Not driving around in traffic. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. So, anyway, that's kind of a couple things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Michael. I had an experience over the weekend. I had some friends come in from Georgia, and so I met them for brunch, and there is one of our Instagram followers who I follow him on Instagram as well, and he has a passion for baking, and he founded the company because his mother loved to bake, and he did it as a tribute for her. And it's so amazing to see when and I had seen him, he posted something on Instagram that he was doing a pop-up at a farmer's market. And I thought, you know what? I keep saying I'm going to get out there. I'm going to get out there. And guess what? I went out there, and I got to say hello to Noel. And he's the owner of Mammy Bakes, which he dedicated, like I said, to his mother. And he has all of this vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, dairy-free treats that are just like a Cuban coffee cake with guava. Oh, my gosh. Just so beautiful. But you know what? It was, and we talked about it because I was saying how much he inspires me because he's living something that became a passion because of somebody that influenced his life. And so when I went there and I had met him last year, and I haven't been able to connect with him again, and I really wanted to do that. I thought, I could go home and do all these other things on my list, or I could segue and just do something completely unexpected and go to this farmer's market. And I met this other gentleman who was selling gorgeous produce and blueberries. And I said, can I take your picture? And he opened his arms wide, and he, had the biggest smile on his face. He was so thrilled. And it was so amazing to me. I got what I needed, and I left, and then I went on with my day. But it was a choice that I had. And I don't know if you ever followed the teachings of Alan Watts, who was a speaker. He was British, and he kind of was like a bridge between Eastern philosophy and Western. And he brought a lot of things. But he was always famous for saying, you can't get wet from the word water. Just love that. I think about it all the time. You can't get wet from the word water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
And and the idea really relates to being an active participant in your own life, embracing that inner child, like you were talking about, the concept of play and enjoyment. It's like, why are we so serious? And so, it's really about experiencing life. And Alan, one of the things that I really loved about what he said, and here again, it's the curiosity that play was not just for children. He saw life as a dance or a piece of music where there was no point in rushing to the end. You had to enjoy every step and every note along the way. And I think when you embody that philosophy, you cultivate a mindset that really values the journey itself rather than just fixating on the outcome. Like I could have gone to the farmer's market and gone, okay, this, and this. But I kind of meandered. Before I went to say hello, I meandered down the street. I looked at what people were selling, people watching, so those were the notes in my piece of music that day. And it was just, it makes being alive worthwhile. It's that inner child in me. Like, did I have to stop at every shop? No, I didn't. I just kind of was basking in the glow of everybody that was happy, people with their dogs. I mean, it was just about the experience, and it was really quite wonderful. And I know that you also are an active participant in your own life, and that you do get wet.
Oh, yeah, I get wet all the time. I'm just like, hey, I love that. I just love that saying. You can't. It's almost as if it makes the visual for me is that it's because you see water, you think, oh, fear that you're going to get wet. And the beautiful thing about water is it's so pliable, it's so flexible, so agile. It just it's so conforming, right? Mm-hmm. And it's almost like a metaphor for how we should be, which is rolling with life, flexible, agile, able to be to just move around and through every moment with ease. And mm-hmm. that's what that reminded me of when you said that statement. Because that's the way I like to be. Is mm-hmm. Yes, I seek to. That's something I strive for every day. I go out. We'll be going out to dinner this evening. I'll see some people that I know. I'll meet some people that I hadn't met before. And it's wonderful to do that. It's wonderful to meet new people. And no matter what they do, sometimes it's the server, sometimes it's a bartender, sometimes it's just somebody we're sitting next to. And somehow I can strike up a conversation with just about anyone. And all you have to do, I was telling my audience this way, a genuine compliment can open a door to many things. Mainly mm-hmm. just joy and a wonderful conversation with someone. So when I see something that I really like that catches my eye, I'll say so. I'll walk next to somebody in a restaurant, and I'll pass somebody in a restaurant, and a woman maybe perhaps, and I love the blouse she's wearing. Like, it's just vibrant. It's just wonderful. It's joyful. And I'll say something. I'll say, you know what? I'm just leaving it. I just wanted to tell you, I've been admiring your blouse. It's really, really a wonderful pattern on you. And then they go, oh, that's so neat. And her husband's sitting there, and I'm wondering, and it's almost as if he didn't give me a compliment on this blouse that I wore. It's just a blouse. I kind of giggle a little bit because sometimes I get looks from the men like, oh my gosh, I didn't say that. I should have said that. But yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think. I think people don't get enough compliments in life, and I just like to make their moment. If it's really genuine, if it's something that I'm not really, that doesn't catch my eye or whatever, I don't have a feeling, an intuition to say something, I don't. And I've done that a couple of times, and the older women have been, oh my gosh, thank you. That is such a nice thing to say. I like they hadn't gotten a compliment in like years, Yeah. And it just brings a little joy to someone's life. You'll see a little smile on their face, and it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So yeah, it's that's life. You got to love it, right? You love it. Mm-hmm. You be an active participant in it. That's how I participate in life. I give bring lots of joy to perfect strangers, and it's so much fun to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And have you ever been in a relationship where you say to somebody, where would you like to go to dinner? I don't care. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? You
mean answering a question with a question?
Yeah. And yeah, inevitably, then finally you pick the place, and then you're on the way driving there. Well, I don't really feel like that kind of food today. Mm-hmm. And then you say, or you're actually even sitting at the table with the menus in front of you, and like, this isn't really where I wanted to go. And then you think, well, why didn't you just tell me? What do you want? Exactly. And I think that's sort of being an active participant in your own life. Is
oh man, what a great
that
example of that. Oh yeah. Oh man, answering. I don't think there's a girl I've ever gone out with who didn't answer a question with a question like that. I mean, it's just. I'm like,
hang on the women. Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm not asking guys to go out to dinner. What can I say?
No, I know that. But I've had the same thing, Michael, as a woman. Maybe I play the role of the man in the relationship. I don't know.
It's possible. My best friends don't live around me, and those that did have passed on. What can I say? I mean, it's like I'll ask her.
I was going to say, so what do you think that is? Why can't we take that ownership of, because if we were talking to Bashar or we were talking to the teachers, they would encourage us to own what we want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Own what you want.
Or comments like
actively participate in that.
How about a yes or no question that gets an answer of sure and maybe? And I think so. What? This is a yes or no question. It's yes or no, right? It's like there's no gray area. This is the question. Would you like to go to this place? Oh, sure. What, does that mean you really want to go there, or does it mean that you might want to, but you want to think about some other place? That's like, you know what I usually do? I start naming places until I get the sure answer, the yes. I say, okay, no, that's not going to work. I just take that as maybe, okay, there's not a lot of investment in that. So how about this place? Or how about that? Would you like this? I'm going to the store. What would you like to eat tonight? I don't know. I don't know. Let me start listing the possibilities, okay? And you tell me which one resonates with you. I mean, it's true. Mm-hmm. It is. I think sometimes it's just some people say that as a bridge between, because they're thinking about it and they want to say something, and then they answer a question with a question because it's a great bridge. Instead of being silent and rolling their eyes and thinking about it a little bit, kind of giving a hint that thinking's going on in my mind. That's the case. But yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up. That's I'm not going to say it's a pet peeve of mine, but I actually kind of understand that. I get that a lot. I get it a lot.
Yeah. Well, and maybe what it is that some people are afraid of maybe judgment or maybe stepping out of the comfort zone, their comfort zone, maybe putting you out of your comfort zone. So, like, there was an Ethiopian restaurant, you're sitting on the floor. The food is served on a big platter, and you don't have utensils, and you have bread, and you kind of, everybody kind of gets in there and mixes stuff up. I mean, I think that it's kind of like that in life. You can sit down. It's like being that child. Like, these are your utensils, and this is where your forks go here, and your knives go here, and the spoon goes here, and this is the one that you use for this. Right? And there is a place for that. Absolutely. Manners are wonderful. But to be able to, again, embrace those simple joys of that inner child where, it brought you those pleasures. And I think, when probably when you were a baby, your mother put things right in front of you and you could reach in and you could texture, and maybe there were tastes or colors or whatever, and you would spit it out. You didn't care for it. I mean, look at, lots of little things like that.
Very good point. Very good point. That's just, I don't know. I'm of the mind that I want to figure out what's going on in someone's head. Mm-hmm. To me, it's just, I don't believe I was put here on this earth to do that, because it can be very taxing.
Sure.
I would rather just get at the maybe come at the situation a different way. Maybe ask a different question. If I'm not getting the answer that a firm I own my life, I'm owning my life moment answer, then I'll ask a different question, or I'll frame it a different way. And or I'll ask a totally, like, if we're not going out to dinner, if it's, you don't sound like you're really interested in going out to dinner, what can I go grab at the store? And maybe I get a firmer answer that way. And if so, I roll with it. If I don't, I keep digging a little further and don't invest a lot of emotion in it, just asking questions. And we're kind of divining what we're eating this evening. We're divining. And I go look at the refrigerator and say, okay, this is what we got in here right now. Do you like that? Would you like something like that? I could prepare it this way, blah, blah, blah. And I can gauge, after 22 years, I can pretty much gauge, where we're going, what we're doing. And a lot of times it's just indecision, a choice not to own the moment, to not want to have. Sometimes I even like to say, look, I'm tired of making decisions. I've made decisions all day. You make a decision, I'll roll with it. And sometimes I have a day like that, that's what happens. And my brain is kind of like fried from thinking and reading and engaging. And I want to chill out. Yeah, I'd like to go out. My cooking sometimes can really liven me back up again. I have a lot of joy when I cook, a lot of love, a lot of joy that I'm putting into what I'm doing. And I do about 95% of the cooking, maybe 98%, if it's not a holiday.
Well, I think you do that with everything, Michael. I think you put a lot of love in everything you do, whether it be work or play, or just even sharing your insights and your nuggets of wisdom with other people, strangers that you meet. I mean, you're doing that from a loving place, and it truly, because that's who you are. Love is who you are.
It's fun, though. It's fun. Love is who I am, and I encourage all our listeners to act and think from that level as well. Life is really fun when you come at it from that perspective. You focus on different things. It's not like what's in it for me so much as it's what's in it for someone else, because there's automatically something in it for me. If I help someone else feel a little bit better, I feel better myself. It's like the teacher said, when you give, you experience joy twice. You experience the joy of giving, and then you experience joy. So you get 2 for 1. You get a twofer on the joy when you give. And I always think about that. It's in the forefront of my mind. Give once, get back twice. And it happens every single time. It feels so incredibly good, and especially with people that you don't know. You don't know them. It's like people get caught up in facts because we kind of thrive on facts. That's how people make decisions about, let's say, what do you do? The normal conversation is what do you do for a living? Where do you live? Where have you been lately? These kind of things that are factual questions, right? To get to know somebody based on facts. And really, you don't get to know somebody based on facts. That is not how you get to know someone. You really get to know them by asking how they feel about things. If you have a feelings-based question and you just shut up and let them talk, they'll open up about all kinds of things that are even unrelated to the question. People don't get a chance. Yeah, it's like, wow. You'll sit back and you'll just wonder at where their conversation goes, where they take the conversation. And they'll end up telling you things that they really don't even tell their best friend or their husband or wife or whatever.
Like when you go to the hairdresser. I think hairdressers could probably write books on what people tell them.
I think people do look at, that their hairdresser is being someone they can talk to. But then again, they know their hairdresser. I'm talking about people telling me, people who don't know me. They've just met me, and they're telling me things about how they feel about where they are in life and what they're doing. I just sit back and listen, and let them get it off their chest, because these are things that they harbor around friends and family. They don't want their friends and family to know how they really feel about various things, but they open up to a perfect stranger because they have nothing invested in them.
Right. And the other thing is you're present with them. You don't have your cell phone out in scrolling through. You're not having a conversation. You're actually an active participant in the conversation with them. You're not like, and scrolling through, which probably, what do they say, that familiarity breeds contempt? That you have people that are around you that they don't silence their cell phone during dinner, and they're distracted by what's going on or whatever else it is. And so when somebody has an opportunity to meet somebody like you, it's delightful, and they feel valued, and they feel seen, and they feel heard, because that's the way you find joy in life. And it's sort of an interesting thing. I've been going to the pool these last few days because it's been very hot here, and it's not a heated pool, so when I get in, it's cold. And, I kind of go in inch by inch by inch, and then I kind of stop. And I was like, I said, how can you do that? I said to somebody the other day, a stranger at the pool. I said, I don't know how you can just go right under. Doesn't it? Aren't you sensitive? And they're like, no, you just go right under. It's no big deal. But I guess that's that same thing. If I were standing on the edge of the water and somebody came by and they just pushed me in, I would have had no choice but to get wet. And then, I'd either be playful about it or whatever. But I think that, you just sort of have to dive in. And that's what you do. You dive into the experience and you engage with somebody. And I think that's really what life is all about. It's meant to be lived. It's not meant to be a passive observant. I mean, yes, you can observe other people, but when you have that opportunity, and I know that you had said the last episode that you love to tease and play, and that's part of you, and that's part of the joy of your journey. And it makes your life more rich and vibrant, I think, because of it. Am I right? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, you heard it right. It's when you're. Somebody said the other day, it was really interesting that this was the case. I was talking to this gentleman, and he said, young people are losing the ability to communicate, to connect. And, he was actually talking about a male-female relationship dynamic. When the boys want to connect with a girl or meet with her, if you sit them down right in front of them, they have no idea what to say. If you put them, if you put them a couple feet away and you give them a phone, then they can text, and they can text and feel comfortable. When it comes to looking them in the eye and saying anything, connecting, that is going to become a lost art with the digital age, and we're going to get whole generations of young people who don't know how to make a connection with people. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's not only just the current generation, it's the generation before that. It's when texting became the generation where texting became a big thing. I think that's a couple generations, Z, R, X, I don't know. At any rate, the idea of being able to sit down with someone you don't know and have a conversation. My nephew went to do an interview with a woman who was going to help him put together his documentation and paperwork and everything he needed to send off after he passed his medical boards. And, so he sat down with her and had an interview. And this woman, when they were done, she said, "You're the best interview I think I've ever had."
Oh, isn't that a nice compliment?
It's a wonderful compliment. It's even a bigger compliment to his mom, my sister, who from an early age taught him how to engage with people. When people would come into the house, she would say, "This is Mr. So-and-so. Reach out your hand and shake his hand and say, 'Hi, how are you?'" And that's what at like 5 years old, she was doing this, And he always had a big smile, and he's a very loving young man. And everything he does is based in love. And she taught them the power of giving every Christmas. Instead of buying a bunch of gifts, they'd put together stockings and things, and they'd go down to Skid Row, the Skid Row in L.A. I've been there myself. It's a very interesting place. And if you're going there with the wrong headspace, you think it is depressing. But it's the way that you go down there. If you go down there with a purpose, and their purpose was to go down and to share, to give packets of toothbrushes and toothpaste and soap and socks and other things to people who were homeless, people on Skid Row, right? People who were recovering from alcohol addiction, drug addiction, et cetera, and unhoused. And they started doing this when they were 5 and 6 years old, and so they developed a relationship with people that they didn't know, in terms of how to engage with them, how to and the value of giving to someone else. She gave that to him early on. They did that for like 15 years. I mean, every Christmas, nice. That was just the thing that they did. All throughout the year, they'd collect soaps. When she'd go to a hotel, they go travel or whatever, they would get soaps and lotions and things of that nature. And I would send them ours, and everybody else would send them theirs. And they put together these stockings, which they gave away. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not surprised that she said that, but she told him one other thing. She said, you would not imagine the number of young people that I interview that cannot be interviewed because they don't know how to communicate with me. They don't know how to present themselves. They don't know how to answer questions fully. And this discernment of information, it's like, she says, you have an easy flow about you. You know how to communicate with me. You smile. Just the basics of how to come in and shake someone's hand and say hello, and then sit down and have posture, have a smile on your face, have a great disposition. That is absent, she said. And she said, unfortunately, many of the youth who've gone through, they have great grades, but they have no ability to communicate. Now, these people want to be doctors. And she said, what's interesting about this is that how can you have a bedside manner if you don't have the ability to communicate in an interview situation? She says, it's really, really interesting. You have to, it's not just about healing people or prescribing medications or whatever, and going and seeing him in an office and fixing something, or not fixing something necessarily, but putting a Band-Aid on something, which is what a lot of doctors have a tendency to do with a lot of different things, but we won't get into that. At any rate, one of the things that she said is that you're going to make a great doctor. You're going to make an awesome doctor because you know you have a lot of love in you. You have a lot of joy. You know how to communicate. And I'm like, yeah, I've always known him to be that way. Because and my sister, I talked to her, she's the one who told me the story, and she said, yeah, that's what I ingrained in he and his sister. That I ingrained in them. And she says, I tell people every day. I'll tell you one other story. There's a gal, a friend of my sister's, who was working on the docks in Long Beach, California. She was working on the docks, and she was able to join the union, and like every morning, on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, they come in and they're looking for people to do specific work that week in the union. And she kept wondering why she wasn't being picked. She says, is it because I'm a woman? Right? They come in and pick, you come with me, yeah, let's go do this thing, right? And that's kind of the way it was. And my sister said, well, why don't you stand over there and tell me how you look? Show me how you look. And she did. And my sister said, okay, that's why you're not being picked. She says, why is that? It's because your body language and your facial expression shows that you don't know what you're doing. There's no confidence there. And she said, really? She says, yeah, okay, here's the way I want you to stand. Shoulders back, chest out. I want you to smile. I want you to show determination. Put a expression on your face of absolute confidence, like you know exactly what you're doing every moment of the day. And don't stand there with your hands crossed, arms crossed, because that's blocking energy. And she changed her posture and her facial expression, and that next week she got picked. She comes back to my sister. She says, oh, my God.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
She says, oh, my God, it worked. And I said, yeah. She said, yeah, of course it works. If you give off the body language that you don't know what you're doing, lack confidence, lack self-confidence, nobody's going to pick you. You're not confident. Yeah. And so body language is something that is a strength. And understanding the nuance of body language in speaking with people. People know that you're paying attention to them based on your body language. Even though you might be listening. You know, we have this thing now where people are on their phones and they say they're listening, but they're on their phones and, you're not listening to me. You're on your phone because the brain can only focus on one thing at a time, right? So you put the phone down.
Or it's like being in a restaurant in Los Angeles and somebody's talking to you, but then they're looking at the door waiting to see who might be walking in that might be more interesting than you.
There you go.
At the table with them.
There's that. There is that one. There is that. Or, and I'm going to tell you something really interesting that I learned. The restaurants, we go to this area where there's a lot of high-end restaurants. And it's they're in and amongst these $1 million homes down on the beach, blah, blah, blah. It's about an 18-mile stretch of beach. Every one of those restaurants has a cell phone blocker. Every restaurant.
Wow.
You cannot get a call in or out. You cannot get on the Internet. You cannot send a text. And while you're basically while you're around these restaurants, I had to, my car was in the shop last week, and I needed to, it was like 5:30 and the shop closed at 6, and I'm going like, what is it doing to call me when they tell me what was wrong with my car? And I said, it's 5:30 now. And I tried to dial him and I couldn't. I'm going, oh, that's right. I've got one bar. There's a cell phone blocker here. I went out of the restaurant. I went across it's in a shopping center area where there's other restaurants and other things. I literally went across into this park area. Still couldn't get a signal. I went across another street close to the main drag. I had to literally walk 75 yards away from the building, and I was able to get get four bars if I stood in a particular spot. And I called them. I called this car repair shop 10 times from the same exact spot. 10 times. I got through once. And this was nowhere near the restaurant. These cell phone blockers are really strong, and I'm going, good, that's okay, I understand the concept. They don't want people on their cell phones talking to people, texting, talking out loud, disrupting other customers, and every one of them has it. Every single one of them has one. It is
Isn't that interesting?
And they don't have any Wi-Fi. Do you have Wi-Fi? No, we don't have any Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Wow.
Schools should be like that.
Actually, it's bringing us back to that. And, when you talk about how we became disconnected, and I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, just as a boy, more so than girls, you tend to wrestle, you tend to be physical. Like we were physical children. And we were, with my brothers and sisters and I, we moved a lot like you did. So we had each other. So we would just be, very physical kids. And, but I think as you mentioned, for a lot of these kids, they're on their phone so much. There's not that contact. You don't have that touching, that interaction. So there is an organization that I found out about several months ago. I was looking for something and it popped up, and I thought, what an interesting concept, and it's called PlayFight.org is the name of it. And it really initiated about bringing back a way of bringing in awareness, respect, and connection. And when they play fight, there's first an invitation. So everybody sits in a circle, and you look at and you invite somebody into the center of the circle to participate with you. And you have the opportunity, you can say yes or you can say no. And if you choose not to play fight with that person, you just say thank you, and it's respected. And then when they encounter people in the center of the circle, first they join their fists together, but you're not really grappling, like that kind of thing. But in the idea is that there is no winner, no loser, or whatever. And then when you're done in that center of the circle, there's an exchange of appreciation. I appreciate you. And everybody is just silent. And it's just about witnessing that other person. And then when you're there, the last step in it is feedback, and it's about being heard. And what I liked about it was that everybody sits back and listens sort of in silence to the people that are in the circle. No opinions, no judgment, no whatever. But I thought it's interesting that we come back to this. And the founder of it said, when he was a kid, that's what he did. He would he was very physical, and they would, play fight with his friends and whatnot. But I think it is about that connection. It's even that losing touch. I mean, I'm a very physical person. I know you're a hugger. I'm a hugger, and a lot of times I'll just say to somebody, if I feel a connection, I'm just saying, I'm a hugger. Do you mind if I give you a hug? And if I can, like that gentleman who has the baked goods, I asked him, I said, do you mind if I give you a hug? And it was so nice to have that heart-heart connection. And I said to him, I said, I just know you through Instagram, but I feel like I've watched this journey that you're on, and I feel connected to you. And it makes me sort of, my inner child smile. And
you're so proud of him, too. You're very proud of him.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
something that you just, it's interesting. When I go to the farmer's market and I come across people, I have a tremendous amount of respect for, because I've been an entrepreneur since I was, 19. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who take an idea and take it to fruition and are actively working it, right, with love and compassion, and they're just and lots of energy and joy, right? They're putting their hearts into what they're doing, their heart and soul. And so I have a tremendous amount of respect. I know what it takes to develop a product and bring that product to market, and then to put yourself out there and connect with people and explain your product and why you do what you do, and bring your passion and your joy with you. That takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy, right? And self-love and all of those things that you that are completely invaluable, just invaluable away from the business, right? I know that most of the people that I see, you take the business away, and they're like that anyway. They're like that anyway. They're loving, they're joyful, they're passionate, they're energetic about whatever it is that they're doing. It doesn't have to be that, right? And they don't get into a lot of drama. They're into helping people. They're being of service to other people by developing a concept or a product or whatever and helping other people. That's what they're doing. So my heart goes out to them, and I show them. I can't say I ask them to come out from behind and give me a hug, but I'm the kind of person that can meet someone. I don't even meet them. I'm a touchy guy. I touch shoulders. Right. And I put my hand just over the back of someone's shoulder when I go, oh, excuse me, and I'll put my hand on them. If I happen to bump into them or something like that, I'll just reach out and touch them and say, I'm sorry, my apologies, and move on, move through it. It's a heartfelt, I really am sorry. There was an experiment that was done in the restaurant business, and with sincerity, of course, waiters who somehow, servers who touched their clients with sincerity during their service got bigger tips than those that didn't.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it was interesting. It's a gentle
that connection
touch on the
again.
shoulder. Yeah, it's a touch on the shoulder. It was, when they're saying, oh, okay, I appreciate it. Oh, no problem. And they touched them on the shoulder on the way by, and it doesn't surprise me. It was not a surprise to me, because we, throughout our entire lives, we seek connection. We seek unconditional love, unconditional acceptance for being who we are and where we are, whatever time it is, and we seek connection. And these are the things that, as we get older, as we age, as we spend more time on this planet, is really the way I should say it. As we spend more time in this plane, we seek connection more and more. And it's really rather interesting, because this morning I was watching a television program, and a woman was on, a psychologist, or was on with a book about connection, and she was talking about how she did a survey, and 23% of the people that she talked to said they were lonely. They were really lonely, right?
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm like, okay, what is it? And it's almost as if I'm not going to say I couldn't relate to that, because that's not really true. I can relate because I've been alone at some really interesting times in my life when I've lost people close to me, and I understand and have empathy and compassion for anyone who's alone or feels alone. However, I also think about one thing. I think about, because I had a friend who tells me, I'm alone, I've got no friends, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you do. He goes to work and he comes home. And I said, number one, the friends aren't going to come knocking on your door. People are not going to come knocking on your door. What do you like to do? You know, do you like to listen to music? Blah, 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 blah. Go to the park on Thursday nights every summer and listen to music. Go to the park and meet people. You can't meet people if you're not in a place where you can actually meet people. I meet people playing golf because I play golf with them. Perfect strangers. I go out by myself. Last Sunday, I play with 2 new people. Right?
Right.
Somebody that's from somewhere else. I get to know them. They get to know me through the game. And sometimes we hook up with numbers and say, hey, if you're in town again, and other times we don't. I just say, thank you very much. It's been awesome playing with you, getting to know you a little bit. And sometimes we get to ask questions about their life and where they're from and whatever, but mainly we're there to play golf. And so golf is a game that allows you to meet a lot of strangers. And I've met a lot of really wonderful people and have connections with them, and you know, it goes on and on. If you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to connect. And a lot of, if you work from home, you actually have to physically leave your house and go somewhere. If you like to bowl, go bowling. If you like to play golf, go play golf. If you like to play tennis, go to a place where you can play tennis or pickleball or whatever it is that you like. Whatever you have a genuine, sincere interest in, whatever brings you joy and makes you feel good about life, that is what and that's where you meet people, because you want to meet people who have like interests, right?
Yes.
Interests, things that you like, where you can do something together. There's a possibility, right? If you're not a fan of tennis and you go to a tennis place and you don't like to play tennis, well, why? What kind of initial connection are you going to have with people who like to play tennis if that's not something you like? You know, I mean, it's like, wow, okay. You like to go swimming. It's a public pool, right?
I do. Yeah, it is. It's a city pool.
Yeah, it's a city pool. You're going to meet people at a city pool.
Oh, my gosh, I meet so many interesting people. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the second component to this is a tremendous amount of self-love and confidence. And this is the part where a lot of people have an issue, because they don't like themselves. Either they don't like what they do in life, and for some reason they don't like themselves, right? We talk about it all the time. You're only going to attract the frequency that you're resonating.
Right.
If you don't like yourself, then all you're going to draw to you is validation that you don't like yourself.
Right.
And so it's the conundrum for many people is, how do I go from not liking myself to liking myself and loving myself? And then this is a whole other show on its own. Maybe we can do it next week.
Well, yeah, but you know, it becomes about, you were saying even with playful. So when somebody asks me, and I truly say this not to be facetious, but when somebody asks me, like, what do you do? And my answer is always, well, that's a loaded question, because I sort of feel like, well, what don't I do? What don't I do? I mean, sure, you know, I don't sculpt. I'd like to try to maybe do that one of these days.
I want to do that.
But, you know, I mow the lawn. I know how to trim hedges. I can do tile work. I can put in a toilet. Let's see, what else should I do? I can do a lot of things. What do? I don't define myself really by what I do. And, Michael, I just want to point this out, because as you were talking about, you know, putting yourself out there, all I can think about is how warm it is in the country right now. And it would be like if you said, oh, my gosh, I'm so thirsty, and I've got a 6-pack of water in my car, and I hand you a bottle of water, and you look at it, and you don't take the cap off, or you're not quenching your thirst. If you don't take that cap off, it's just not going to happen. And it goes back to what Bashar said, it's so simple, and what the teacher said, it's so easy. You know, just hold that bottle, twist the cap, take it off, open it up, and let it flow, whatever it is. And then guess what? Then you truly get to experience what life is all about. You cannot quench your thirst without being able to open yourself up to the richness of life and actually all the experiences that are out there.
Well put. I think that's an excellent example of great visual of opening yourself up. I tell this friend of mine, I said, what do you like to do? And so you can connect with something that you love. If you love to cook, if you love to bake, then bake. And the feelings of joy and love and fulfillment that you get from baking, let that be the standard by which you define yourself. That is where your joy and love and self-love is. That's where it is. You love what you do it well. And when you go out and you lack confidence, just think of baking. I'm a great baker. I'm an awesome baker, right? Let that be what you draw your self-confidence from. You don't have to draw it from some other thing you do at work that you really don't like, or some failed relationship, or somebody who told you in the past that you'd never amount to anything, which some people carry around like a badge of honor, and let it define them. Define yourself by whatever it is you want to define yourself by, but make it, if you make it something you love, make it something that brings you joy, something that makes you feel good inside. And that's what, when you think baking, when you're meeting people, think how great a baker you are, a smile will come to your face. And when that smile comes to your face, that's what's going to radiate, because you're thinking about something you're good at, and you're letting that be the foundation, the rock of your self-confidence, right? Not that your last relationship didn't work out, or not that, like I said, you don't like the work you do, or whatever it is, your family life is screwed up because, there's a lot of drama. None of that really matters. What matters is what makes you feel really good, right? If you love the library and you go there and you read books and you do whatever you do at a library, right? Or you go to wherever it is that to whatever hobby you have. I mean, I ask people, "What's your hobby?" They go, "I like doing this." You're a philatelic. You're a stamp collector? Great. That's fantastic. That's something you can not only talk about, but it's something that you can draw confidence from. You're just looking for an anchor, a foundation to draw confidence from, self-confidence from. And you get self-satisfaction. You can love yourself for what you do because you like it. And that's what you want to radiate. It just helps bring you up to the frequency, because your thoughts are creating the frequency that you're resonating to other people. They may not know what the heck it is. They don't need to. It's just you go to a room full of people that you've never met, and before you go there, you do the thing that you love to do. Or you put your mind in touch with that thing and how the feelings that you had when you last did it. You walk through the door with a smile of confidence thinking, wow, I found the best stamp the other day. Oh, it was amazing. You're thinking this to yourself, and you're radiating this smile and this joy, and you're going to connect with somebody. Not to talk about stamps, but you're just going to connect with them. Right. And they're going to go, wow, what are you thinking about? You're really looking good. I was thinking about the last time I found this awesome stamp. I don't know, whatever. And it starts the conversation.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, and that's why potlucks are so fun. And I know you do a lot of things like that. Everybody brings a dish, and you don't know, sometimes it's only just a bag of chips, or you just run to the store and you pick something up. But inevitably, there's somebody who brings a dish that you've never tried before, and you get to savor new flavors and experience things.
Oh, yeah. We had that on 4th of July here. We had some people on the street get together at a neighbor's house, and people had never met each other, right? And we brought some things, and they cooked some things, and we sat there for a couple of hours and got to know some other people for the first time. Not that we're going to become. The point isn't always to develop close friendships where you get together once a week. That's not it. I find what a lot of people do under these circumstances is they put so much pressure on themselves to make it go somewhere. And that's not really the point. You simply connect with people on a heart-to-heart level. That's all you're looking to do. Mm-hmm. If it goes somewhere beyond that, then so be it. If not, you've connected with someone. And then you connect with another person and another person and another person. And you develop your life skill of connecting with people. I played golf with a guy last Sunday, and his dad was military as well. He had 4 brothers. He was the youngest. But his other brothers were with his dad moving around every 2 years. And he says, they got to be, they're so good with people because they had to move every 2 years and they had to make new friends every 2 years. And I said, that's the joy of moving every 2 years. You get to make new friends.
Yes, I can attest to that. Absolutely. I have friends all over the world because of it. Absolutely.
Exactly. And you don't talk to them every day. I'm about to meet another friend that we went to high school with. We're finally going to get to Boston on our way to Portugal in August. And there's a friend of ours that lives there that I've only seen one other time. And there's a group of us who got together at a restaurant in New York City that you went to high school together in Turkey with. And this was, oh my gosh, I think it was like 10 years ago when we got together for this dinner. And somebody lived in New York City, somebody lived in Long Island, somebody lived in Cape Cod, and we lived in Florida. And we came together and we closed the place. They're like, we need to wash the dishes now, so you got to go,
I've been in that
like, okay,
before.
great.
They start turning the lights out on you.
We got to let the employees go home now, so you must go too, right? It was a Turkish restaurant. It was awesome, but but we're gonna get. He lives 2 hours from the airport we're going to come into, and we're only there overnight, but we have a nighttime flight out. So I said, we're going to come see you. And he goes, that's awesome. We'll come down and stay the night with them at their house. We'll get off the plane, drive for 2 hours, see them, and then we can spend 24 hours with them and still drive back and be at the airport 3 hours before we have to take off. And so that's what we're going to do. It's all arranged, and it's awesome, and I'm so looking forward to it. But, you have connections with people that can last a lifetime, and it's all about, it's not about them as much as it's about what you're resonating. How do you get this across? You, as an individual, our listeners here on PRN-FM, our podcast, Connect to Love, connecting with other people is about bringing your energy with you, your positive energy. That's what it's about. However that positive energy is derived, that's up to you. It's about bringing your energy and self-confidence. That is all it's about. And if you're an awesome welder and that's what you do all day and you love it, let that shine through you. You don't have to go preaching to the world that you're a welder and that you love it. That's not it. It's about taking the feelings and emotions, the positive feelings and emotions of anything that you enjoy doing and bringing those to the surface when you're connecting with people. You don't have to talk about it. They'll feel and sense that you're loving something. You're loving life. Yeah. And we're going to hold, at some particular point in time, I could see us holding workshops or retreats on how to connect with people. And the simple ways to connect with people. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more on this program as well.
No, you're absolutely right, Michael. You're simply enjoying the act of being present and engaged in something that you love, allowing that inner child to come out, that playful spirit. It opens us up to a whole new world of possibilities and allows us to truly savor life's experiences. And that connection, that connection to the heart, that connection to love. And it is so powerful. And I'm so grateful to you and to all of our listeners. And for those who follow us on Instagram at Connect to Love Energy, I do feel so connected to each and one of you who take the time to comment. And it makes me smile. I don't always have as much time as I'd like to get through a lot of the comments, but when I do, oh my goodness, I just fills my heart with so much joy. And I know it does to you too, Michael, to be able to do, not only do the show, but to share our little nuggets of wisdom and our insights, and to get wet. Just
I love it.
Let's
get wet.
Water and get wet. Yep, exactly.
Well, listen,
exactly.
Until next week, these hours go way too quickly. I want to say thank you very much to you and very much to our listeners as well. I love being part of this.
I do too. Thank you so much.
All right.